If you're a driver in California, there is a new law that you need to know about for 2025. So basically, this new law has to do with insurance minimums. And you may or may not know this, but in California, if you have insurance, there's a minimum amount of insurance you can have. It's $15,000 per person, $30,000 per accident. That's a fairly small amount of money. And if you get into an accident and it's a serious accident or you cause injury to someone else and they have to go to the ER bill itself could be over those limits. So finally, California, they decided through the legislature to change that law. It's now going to be $30,000 and $60,000. So what does that mean? That means that the insurance that you have to protect other people is going to go up to $30,000 or $60,000. If someone hits you and it's their fault and they have insurance and they have the minimum, it used to be only $15,000, which was nothing. Now it's going to be $30,000, which would be able to cover things like the ambulance, the ER. Likely, this is going to also increase the amount of minimum underinsured or uninsured motorist coverage. So you may have heard me talk about these coverages in other videos. This is probably some of the most important insurance coverage you can get in California because there are so many people driving around without a license or without insurance. I always tell people get more than the minimum of the uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage. Likely now it's going to be 30,000, 60,000. A lot of people call me up and they say, "Oh, I've got full coverage." And then I get their actual declaration page and they don't have full coverage. What does full coverage mean to me? It means that you have uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage and also medical pay coverage. Coverage that'll give you some money to help pay for bills, co-pays, deductibles, things like that, that you have out of your pocket right away. And you don't have to wait a long time to get paid. In addition to increasing the bodily injury limits, they are also increasing the property damage limits to $15,000 for the property damage. Before it was less than that. And as you can imagine, particularly with the cost of cars today, the cost of repairs, it was very easy to blow past the minimum limits. So now $15,000 should be sufficient for most cars on the road. It was really due time for California to change the minimum limits. In fact, these limits hadn't been changed in 50 years. And these limits that California had were the 47th lowest in the country, which is absurd because the cost of living in California is so high, it just wasn't matching. So my firm, we deal with these insurance limits all day long. And part of our practice is always to check how much insurance is available in the case. If you have any questions about your case, if you were injured or you have questions about the insurance limits, feel free to reach out to my office.